Dude, Georgia was in Indiana. Saw Caitlin Clark play basketball.
I saw that. They lost to the Aces.
What's her team name? The Fever?
Indiana
Fever.
Indiana Fever, yeah. Indiana's got some weird names. You know they have a team called the Fort Wayne Mad Ants?
Fort Wayne Mad Ants. What is it for? What sport?
What? Oh, I think it's AAA baseball.
Huh. All right, you ready?
My mind went blank. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Here we go. Buckle up. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of King of the Court. We have so much to talk about. We are your hosts, Tyler.
And Jimmy
Miller.
Tyler, we wearing black today for the death of Annalie Waters and Catherine Parento.
Wow. Explicit right from the beginning.
The death of their impressive, amazing streak.
We can talk about that. But first, big shout out to our title sponsor of the KOTC show, which is the Pickler. We love the Pickler. They had a grand opening for one of their new locations.
Salt Lake City.
I'm not sure which location this is, but
Brickyard.
For the next few months, well, actually for the future, they will be opening up a lot of locations very soon.
Yes.
Almost every single weekend, it seems like almost 1 to 2 locations will be opening. So if you're in the areas that they will be opening, go check them out. The grand openings are a lot of fun. It's free pickleball. They normally have food there, games. Sometimes pros will come out and play. Also, if you're interested in owning your own business, the Pickler's franchising, go reach out to them at pickler.com and tell them that the guys at KOTC sent you.
That's us.
That is us. There might be other guys, but we're referring to us.
We're the originals.
Our next sponsor is Pickleball Central, the number one online retailer for all things pickleball.
Do you think it's even close? I don't even think it's close.
So how would we quantify this? If they were a 10, let's say they're a 10, a perfect 10, the next competition I would imagine would be 4 to 5.
Like if
they double the revenue or volume that these other people are doing, if not more.
Like if they're Amazon, the next person is Temu.
Temu's pretty sweet.
That's true. Temu's kind of dope. I like Temu. Okay, if they're Foot Locker, the next person is Journeys, followed by Payless.
Okay, anyways, Pickleball Central, we love you. Thank you for your support. They carry almost everything pickleball related and more. Use code KOTC to save you the best savings possible.
I bet you could have got that motorcycle on Temu for less.
I think you can, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Use code KOTC0924 if you are watching this in September.
Yes.
If you're watching it in August, 0824. If you're watching this in October,
1024.
KOTC 1024.
Yes.
Next, thank you, Stack Athletics, for your support. Their new apparel is incredible. It's everywhere. I've seen a lot of pros and amateurs using their clothing.
I just had a pro text me for our code, KOTC, because she wanted to buy some stat gear. Once a bear, always a bear.
Was it Mo?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wouldn't give him a code. I'd make him pay full price. He'd have to pay extra.
Next, we have, this is just a little bit of an update. So we had the Where's Jimmy t-shirt and then also the KOTC podcast.
How are those going?
Sales have been well. They've been better than I expected. We are running out of sizes on most large and some XL.
Most people are large and XL.
Large and XL. But we do have some in the small and medium. And then
have we shipped any to Canada yet?
No.
We need to ship one to Canada.
So if you guys are interested in supporting the podcast directly, click the link below and we will get those. Guess what? I am manually myself printing, shipping, driving to the post office and shipping those out.
You're driving to the post office?
I'm driving there.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should put your girls to work.
Exactly.
I think they could do it.
All right. Jimmy, there was an eventful weekend.
What a weekend.
Yep.
What a week.
Well, technically, it's still going on.
Yes. So mixed is going as we speak.
Mm-hmm. So we have the PPA. What was the name of the tournament?
The CIBC Atlanta Grand Slam.
And this was in Ohio. But since Ohio is going through repairs,
to be, yes.
They switched it to Atlanta.
Yes. So this is supposed to be the Cincinnati.
Exactly.
Cincinnati, home of the infamous middle finger.
Yes. Took me a while.
Yes. But instead they moved it to Atlanta. So a couple quick questions. There was some rain.
Rain was an issue for sure.
So you guys got moved inside for a couple of days.
Yes. Luckily, at that Lifetime, they were well equipped with pickleball courts.
Built-in bleachers and everything. But one thing that I noticed today, and because there wasn't a lot of outdoor play, it seemed like Grandstand did not have a lot of room on it. I saw a lot of players hitting the back wall on their follow-throughs.
I mean, it wasn't a ton of space, but it was more than a lot of other places. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't as much as center court.
Was it nice to play on permanent courts again?
It was. It felt a little bit different to have that consistent bounce and just kind of what we're used to playing in. Yeah, it was good to play out there.
Good. So
so we had weather issues.
Yeah.
They also implemented, was it right before the tournament that they came out with a new service rule, essentially trying to get away from those players that toss up the ball and are very borderline on legal versus illegal serves. Yeah. And so they came out with a new serve rule.
And there's a million videos out there of like, basically like there's one of Deckel talking to the referees and he's serving over and over and she's like illegal. And then Don Stanley comes over and then you see Deckel serve one and Don Stanley's like, that was perfect. Mm-hmm. It's so subjective.
Yeah.
It looks still very difficult to call. Mm-hmm. But I think we did see more service warnings in this event than we've seen before. Pablo got one in mixed and
Deckel got one in warm-up. I mean, you can't even be doing that in warm-up.
Yeah. And the one that Pablo got in mixed, he was very unhappy with. And then Pablo got a delay of game warning right after because he refused to go back and serve.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sidearm serve, a lot of people do that kind of sidearm serve. It's done. It's
real quick, you're a big baseball guy.
Big.
So that is one of the sports that I do not participate in is baseball. But to my understanding, they have the umpire behind the batter.
Yeah.
And the box is what's the size of the box that it's a strike or not a strike from the pitcher?
Oh, dude,
isn't it like a foot?
It's probably 18 inches. Yeah.
What are we measuring? All right. And so what I'm getting at is
generally it's the bat. Technically, from the batter, it's from the letters in Major League Baseball. It's like the letters to the belt, but
okay. So what I'm getting at is most of those umpires, they're very accurate, right?
Yeah.
Oh, like they are
incredibly accurate on the.
So how is that possible for those umpires to get that so accurate when the baseball is coming in close to 100 miles per hour?
Yeah. Well, one thing is the angle that they're at is great. Number two, these are professional umpires that are trained to do this.
Okay.
And they're paid hundreds of thousands. Or I think the umpire salary is like $100,000.
Yeah.
So I think that helps for sure.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a weird thing to see. Other sports do it at 10 times the speed. Yet they're still
umpire salaries are $120,000 to $300,000 annually.
We should be umpires. Yeah, we got to switch careers.
Jeez.
Okay, and then in addition to the serve rules, we had some fun or not so fun line calls, but we also had the introduction of the close call replay system.
Yeah, so close call replay. So let's go over that really quick because the close call replay system didn't fully eliminate every questionable call.
No, and to my understanding, I thought it was on CC and GS, but it's only on CC.
Yeah, they said it'd be on 2 courts, and it seems to only be on 1. I think it's going to be on 2 for MLP, but only 1 for...
Yeah, I know for sure they will eventually get to 2 courts, but how long that will take, I'm not sure.
So they came up with this rule, and essentially it's not the rule because there's all this argument out there. Does a pickleball compress? Mm-hmm. Does it compress? Does it not compress? We know on these crazy high-tech cameras that it does compress. However, you don't know how much it's compressing, and you can't really quantify that. So what they did was they have this rule where instead of just like, are you seeing if there's a gap or no gap, right? Is there blue or no blue, which would be the way that you kind of call a line in a rec game, for example. They have a 75% rule.
Yep.
So they take the ball and they cut it into quadrants. Okay.
Okay.
So it's 4 quadrants means 4. Quad means 4.
How many is in one quadrant percentage points?
25%.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
So they cut it in quadrants. The ball lands, and as long as 75%, so 3 of the 4 quadrants is essentially in. It's in. Or out, I mean.
Yes.
It's out.
Yeah.
So they're doing a 75% rule, and they're saying that makes it a lot easier for the referees to make a call. Now these line calls, I'm going to read just really quick. I'm going to read Don Stanley's explanation here. He said, using the outside edge vertical plane of a line, if the vertical plane intersects the ball 25% or less, the ball is out.
Yep.
If the vertical plane intersects above 25%, the ball is in. So 26%, it's in. So that's how they're going to call it.
And I think right now they're essentially eyeballing it. I don't think they have any computer graphics that show exactly what 25%
they're just eyeballing
is.
it. So there was a match. It was Jaume and Tyson taking on J-Dub and Dylan.
Yep.
And they hit a ball, corner pocket, down the line, past them. Match point.
Match point.
Yeah. So it goes to review. It was called out originally. Goes to review, and if you look, if this is the corner baseline, okay, I don't know if you guys can see this, but the ball was sitting about like this, I would say. It looked out. If you look at a ball and you assume that a pickleball cannot compress, the ball was out.
Yeah.
But if you take the 25% rule, and according to Don Stanley, it was about 32 to 35%. The ball was in.
Yeah.
They overturned the call. Jaume and Tyson end up winning.
Yeah. One thing to note, to my understanding, they were using cameras that had 120 FPS, and at their normal system, they normally have cameras that have 240 FPS.
Yeah.
So that's significantly
And
different.
240 actually will show the compression, by the way, of a ball.
Yeah.
Just saying. So, yeah, so that was in play. Now, there was, just men's singles. Let's just start right off the bat with men's singles.
The very first match of the tournament.
First match of the tournament, they were not in play.
They were not in play.
There was a rain delay, I believe, or maybe they just weren't set up yet. They just weren't set up yet, right?
Are you talking about my match?
Yes.
That was on GS, so they didn't have them.
Okay, so on GS, they weren't set up yet. You go out, you get to play against one of your former partners, as well as a former California Black Bear.
Black Bear. Once a bear, always a bear.
Mr. DJ Young. Now, I've been on his podcast. I've been on Conversations with DJ.
Yep.
Probably is. I think it's his highest viewed podcast of all time. No surprise. You're welcome, DJ. And you lost game 1?
Yes. Yep.
You lost game 1, and it got a little heated.
Yeah.
So there was a ball that was a good 2 inches out, I'll say. You called out. He appealed to the ref, and the ref overturned your call.
Yeah.
Like literally overturned it. So then after that, I think that both sides, I mean, we got to call it fair, started calling it a little tight. And it started to get a little bit intense. Combine that with there was a guy in the crowd. We need to talk about this.
Sure. Let's bring him up.
And he's been there before, I guess. You have like a heckler. You have a stalker.
Yeah.
Like you need a protective order.
Probably. Can you show up, Jimmy?
He was behind the baseline. And he was just chirping the whole time.
Yeah, and this wasn't even that bad, but yeah.
And he was saying stuff like DJ would hit a shot. He would make a comment.
Yeah.
So we get later in the match. It's game 3. DJ hits like a little cross court shot that lands. Looks like it either lands near the kitchen, in the kitchen. Unfortunately for our view at home, we couldn't see it because the net was in the way. DJ was adamant it was in. You called it out. This heckler yells, "That was way in." And DJ gets pissed. Later in the match, there's another call. You can't really tell. It was in or out. DJ gets upset. And then match point.
Match point.
Puts one in the back left corner.
He was up, I believe, 9-6 also.
Yeah. And you start chirping back at this heckler. And now you're starting to get loud. Right? You're starting to, and he puts one in the back left corner if he's facing the court. And you call it out, match point. DJ loses it, gets pissed. You turn to the heckler and say, thank you, start clapping, and you say, that's exactly the motivation I needed.
Yeah.
So replays
Yeah.
aren't great, but there are some replays that show a lot of those calls you made were questionable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying they're questionable in or out. They were close.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, we could call it what it is, Ty. It looks like maybe you missed one or two.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It looks
Do you
like
think
that.
that's fair?
That's a fair assessment.
So DJ goes to social media.
Yeah. Did you get $50?
I did not. And he offered $50. Dude, I ain't got time for that. He offered $50 to anybody that would clip all of the bad calls.
Do you think he paid out?
Yeah, he did, because somebody screenshotted the Venmo.
Was it only one person, or
I don't know, but some dude screenshotted the Venmo and
there you
said,
go. Maybe I should have done that.
yeah. And so he went and clipped all these calls. Now, there was one that was clear cut. You missed. I mean, it is what it is. The other ones.
Which one? The one at the kitchen?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other ones were very close. Even match point. Because
But even that one wasn't clear cut. It doesn't show the ball bouncing.
it doesn't, but we can make assumptions.
You can, but it doesn't show the ball
We
bouncing.
can make assumptions. So, and then the
And by the way, these were not like a Jay DeVilliers, a Michelle Esquivel, a Salome. Like
no. We're talking an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these aren't like clear cut, but it just happened that there was a lot in the match. And he missed one too. Just to be clear.
I would say more than one.
Yeah, but there's one that was
Yeah.
because the same guy who clipped him for DJ also clipped the one that DJ was wrong on.
Yeah.
And I guess DJ decided not to post that one.
Yeah.
But DJ kept going. And then it was like 2 days later.
Yeah.
And he posted again, another one. But it was the same call from a different angle.
Yeah. It was the same one.
The same one.
The same
yeah.
call. Exactly.
The one that we knew you missed.
Exactly.
And it was just from
Which, once again, it still doesn't show the ball bouncing.
Yes, but again, that ball, unless that ball took a straight 90-degree left turn.
Hey.
Physics say
You've got to have evidence.
Physics say that ball was in.
You don't know when it's bouncing.
I mean, that ball was in, Ty. So DJ, I like DJ. This is what's funny. He was fired up.
Yeah.
I mean, he felt like he got hooked. I understand his frustration,
Yeah.
but he just kept going
Yeah.
and going. And then he starts tagging the podcast.
Well, and myself too.
And you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Does he tag you?
He never tagged me.
Oh man.
But he did tag the podcast I
If
saw.
he tagged you, would you have reposted?
100%. 100%. I don't care if it's you or him. I love it. I think it's great. I love that he went to social media. I love that he's fighting for it.
Yeah, that's a really good look. Having players call out other players, that's great.
I think it's hilarious. I think that, unfortunately, I don't think that his evidence was as strong as he thought it was.
Yeah.
Like I said, there were bad calls, definitely. But again, all of this is solved with replay and without you guys calling. I think it's harder to call your own balls in singles than it is in even doubles.
Well, the ball's coming significantly faster.
Significantly faster.
And you're doing a lot more.
And it's one person instead of two. And chances are you're calling it from the other side of the court, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot more drama to that match than I think most people realize. I mean, before the match, and even now, I don't have any issues with DJ. He probably is mad about that call, but I would imagine.
Well, he's mad about like 8 calls.
Sure, multiple calls. I'm also mad about those calls too. There were multiple on his end.
Multiple.
But we first started the match.
You know when you do a story like shrinks on Instagram. His was like tiny, bro. It was like he had a lot of.
Yeah. We started the match. We were talking before, just messing around, everything like that. We start playing a few points, and then, like you said, there was a ball that he hit that I thought was going like 1 to 2 feet out, and then it curves in at the last second, and I still thought it was at least 1 to 2 inches out, and I called it out. And then, like you said, I got overruled. He appealed, and I was a little bit frustrated that he even appealed because the ball was clearly out, and he actually started laughing because the ball was. I'm guessing he thought it was out as well, but he got it overturned. He was laughing. And so that kind of made me mad in the beginning. And then there was another one a few points down the road where I hit in my opinion, a clean winner, and he missed that call. And then he didn't get overturned. And then I actually got a technical warning from one of the refs for talking out loud to myself.
Oh.
And so that was more fuel to the fire. But in the end, yes, there were a lot of close calls. I called it as I saw it.
So do you think DJ, knowing that ball was clearly out, should have overruled the ref?
Not should have overruled it. Shouldn't have asked him.
Should have never asked because he knew.
Yeah, it's like if you start asking your opponents every single time, I mean, that's as if you don't believe your opponents at all. You're not trusting them.
But should he trust you after some of those calls?
Well, that was the very first one.
Oh, so
that was the.
So
very
you
first
hadn't
one.
broken his trust yet.
Exactly, not yet. Exactly.
That was the first affair.
Yeah, but there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of close calls, and I think we both wanted to win. And
So what happened after? Are you and DJ cool?
I haven't talked to him, but
You haven't.
yeah, I mean, I'd talk to him if I see him.
Who'd win in a fight? He's
He's a big guy.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, I'm quicker though, so I can run around him. But
That's true.
If he gets me in a headlock,
Do you think had he not used the gearbox?
it was Yola?
Oh,
it was
he
the
used
Yola.
Oh,
yeah.
he switched to Yola?
Yeah,
I didn't
which-
even notice that.
Before multiple tournaments ago, all these players, not only him, but they complain about them and then they start using them.
Yeah, well, it's like you can't beat him, join him, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And that thing launches rockets.
so if he wasn't using that Yola, the ball wouldn't be going as fast, and it would have made things easier for you to make
Exactly.
calls.
So this is on DJ.
It's kind of his own fault, right?
Yeah. But not only my match was there a lot of questionable calls all around.
But nobody else went to social media.
Exactly. Yeah. And the only reason why he went to social media, because he lost. Had he won,
Well, of course. I mean, yeah. I get
Exactly.
that. Everybody. But we've talked about this a million times, and everybody is guilty of it. But when the match gets tight, if you were up 9-5 or 9-4, do you make those same calls?
if you see a ball out, you call it out.
I'm just curious because it feels like when matches get tight,
Yeah.
line calls get tighter.
If you see a ball out, I call it out. I mean, I just watched Connor play Federico, and both of them had, I think, back-to-back calls that were overturned. It's not like players don't make bad calls or don't see the ball properly every single time. It happens.
You know who had a call overturned?
Who?
Travis Rettenmeyer.
Your boy. Our boy.
Travis Rettenmeyer.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Morality Police himself.
This is probably not the best time for you to be talking about line calls.
had a ball overturned.
Uh-oh. So what does that mean?
I mean, it just means that he is fallible like everybody else. He is not perfect.
Wow.
He misses calls. Just like everybody else that plays pro pickleball misses calls.
Yeah.
Travis Rettenmeyer misses calls.
The thing that I've always said, like, every single player will have it happen. I've seen the best players, the most respected players have calls overturned. To me, it becomes an issue when it happens every single match.
Agreed.
If it happens 1 out of every 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever, that's a mistake. It's an error. But when it happens every single match.
We need to pause for 1 second.
Okay, pause.
All right. We ready?
Is this an outfit?
Okay, I got you a present. I feel like based off of how you acted this weekend and all the things that you did,
Is this like a punishment?
I think that this is appropriate, and I feel like you should have to wear it
For the rest of the
for
show?
the rest of the pod. Okay? I don't know what the hell that is.
Not wearing the wig.
No.
Do I have to do sound effects with
I
this?
feel like you need to. I feel like Captain Hook is here,
Should I put this on?
and you need to put on your costume,
I actually like this mustache.
and you need to rock this. DJ, this is for you, DJ. Okay? I feel like this is appropriate, and if you're going to make bad calls, you're going to have to be punished.
Everyone in the pickleball universe who makes bad calls, we will send you this.
We will
outfit.
send this. What we'll do is we'll just distribute this costume to everybody, right?
That's actually a good idea.
And so, guess who gets it next?
Who?
Rettenmeyer. All right, so
One of his rants, he can wear it.
he can. So men's singles. After all that drama,
Rafa
you
and
advanced.
Roscoe had a close call too.
Yeah, so Rafa had another controversial call. He ended up losing 12-10 to Roscoe in the third.
6-3 in game 3.
6-3 in game 3. And then Connor Garnett upsets Fed
Yes, in the semis.
in the semis,
Yep.
which was a big win.
Well, I got to give myself credit. So he was down 2-9.
Giving yourself credit.
2-9 to Case and Campbell.
Yeah.
In game number 2.
Uh-huh.
And I get to his court and I tell him some words of wisdom, words of advice.
What'd you tell him?
I can't say, but he ends up winning that game, I believe 13-11 or 12-10.
Did you say don't focus on his hat?
Exactly. And then he ends up winning. Little do I know, I shouldn't have done that because I ended up having to play Connor, and
Yeah.
he kind of
and he beat you.
He kind of cleaned me.
Well, he ended up playing Yates Johnson in the quarters, and he actually lost game one. Mm-hmm. Yates was playing outstanding, and then Yates got hurt.
I heard that. I did not see it, but I heard that.
Pulled a groin, it looked like.
Uh-huh.
He got it all taped up, super tight. Had a physio on the side. It was interesting because they had someone come down to wrap it, and Hunter's sitting there eating a burrito.
What, you want Hunter to do it?
Well, I just felt like Hunter, they're twins. Like, help your brother out.
Okay.
Don't make some poor soul wrap up his groin.
That's what they're paid to do.
Well, I think it was just some rando from the audience. I don't think he travels with the physio.
I think they do. I was watching the finals.
The Johnsons do?
I think so.
How do they get so much money? Huh?
Okay. Connor, he plays Yates. He pulls that one out in 3.
He pulls it out in 3. And then, so we have Championship Sunday. And Hunter says, you know what, dude? You want to beat my brother? I'm coming for you. Connor Garnett was up 7-3 in the third.
And he missed a serve.
Yeah. Battled back. Hunter freaking Johnson wins the men's singles title
Atlanta
at CIBC Atlanta Grand Slam.
Yep.
Hunter Johnson, congratulations.
Yep.
LA Mad Drops. Hunter's been, I said this on the last pod. I said Hunter has been playing well.
Yep.
I said that him and Paris have been playing well. He made a deep run in men's doubles, which we'll talk about. Hunter Johnson he's been playing real. Maybe it's all the new money. Maybe it's traveling with a physio.
Well, he doesn't even have a paddle sponsor at this moment.
Yeah, he was with Engage, even though he's still on the Engage commercial.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I did not know.
Will Hunter Johnson go the way of Christine McGrath and Ben Johns and end up signing with Franklin because of Paris?
That's a great question.
Remember when Christine got a signature paddle?
I think it's still available.
The pink one?
Yeah.
All because she was dating Ben?
She was a top player at that time.
There's 6 female pros.
She was one of the top
6 because there was only 6.
There you go. All right, real quick, we got to give a big shout out to our next sponsor, which is C&D Pickleball Net.
C&D.
We have MLP this week in New York, and I'm thrilled to play it. I also believe they will have C&D Pickleball Nets there.
Yes.
So all the pros should be thrilled to be using those nets.
Are you excited to not use some of these, we'll say, portable nets that you've been using?
I'm excited just because C&D are the most true nets to the in-ground nets that they're somewhat portable.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the biggest thing when it comes to net is the net tension and how heavy duty they are. And C&D is at the top of that list.
Yeah, I mean, C&D, we know that they're the best nets by far. Everyone's very well aware. If you've played on a C&D, there's a difference. I promise you, there is a difference, and it matters.
We have to talk about this guy. This guy is the coach, I believe, at Baylor, and he ordered 11 C&D pickleball nets.
He did?
11 C&D pickleball nets.
Did he use our code?
I'm not sure how it went down, but he said he ordered 11
Baylor pickleball coach?
I think it's Baylor. Let me look it up real quick.
How about the old Baylor Bears in the Big 12?
Okay, Paul Underwood, who has donated to the pod multiple times.
Paul, you're a bad man, Paul.
And his name has been left out of the podcast, but we are giving him a big shout out because he's donated. And he said he ordered or is buying 11 C&D nets for his new on-campus pickleball facility. My wife and I are funding the whole thing. That's incredible.
Paul, you are a bad man, Paul. Look at this. If you Google him, Paul is growing pickleball. He's grassroots over here. That's sick.
Yeah, and he also had some other questions that we'll get to at the end of the show. But thank you for your support, Paul, and congrats on buying those 11 C&D pickleball nets.
And Paul, let me know how I can buy some Baylor pickleball team gear. I want to rock some Baylor pickleball team gear on the pod.
Okay.
Go Bears.
If anyone else is interested in buying...
You know they're the Baylor Bears, right?
I did not.
Bears is clearly the best nickname.
Bears. Go Bears. Once a bear, always a bear.
Once a
bear. Does that translate into other universities or other programs?
100%. All Bears stick together.
Like Jazz Bear, the Jazz Bear.
The Jazz Bear. All Bears stick together. Polar Bears. Yeah.
Okay, if you are interested in getting the best price on C&D pickleball nets, go to bestpickleballnets.com and use code KOTC. It supports us and gets you the best price possible.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. All right, so there was a lot of entertaining matches.
Where's your hook? Where's your wig?
I'm not wearing that.
Okay, let's just keep the hook here because I feel like you've earned it.
There you go.
Okay. All right. What are we moving on to?
Just entertainment matches. So once again, there's so many matches that it's hard for us to keep track of and touch base on every single one of them.
Dude, literally, I mean, they show 8 hours on 4 different channels a day.
And we're supposed to cover every single one of them.
Yeah, and you guys, you can watch. If you're watching the show, you watch the matches, right? We'll give you the insight if there's any little drama, anything that happened, obviously. But for the most part, yeah. So,
real quick, I guess we're kind of jumping all over the place, but Ben Johns, he pulled out of singles against Grayson Golden.
He did. So he rolled his ankle playing soccer the day before. Now, you guys
PPA put it in quotation marks.
Yes.
Alleged.
So PPA said alleged ankle injury. Wild for the official website of the official Instagram page of the PPA.
Their intern
to do
is
that.
wilding right now.
That intern is probably looking for another job. Essentially what you're saying is that you don't believe that Ben is really hurt. I will say this. I watched that match. Ben was up 6-3. And then all of a sudden he lost 11-6. He was very much limping around, moving very gingerly.
The whole time or just when he started losing? Like in the beginning when he was up 6-3?
No, beginning he was definitely, it was a little bit different.
Okay.
You could tell something was off. Now he has his own physio that he does travel with. And they seem to help his ankle a little bit. So you sent out a tweet, and I want to talk about this.
Okay.
You said, is it fair if players are pulling out from one event, right, for injury and then playing in other events?
Yeah.
And Andrea Koop, who is...
Was she a bear? She was a bear.
She was a bear. Once a bear, always a bear. Everyone, well, at some point, everybody will be a bear. Ben was also a bear. Okay? So Andrea Koop said that she has no issue with it if you pull out from like a singles and you still play doubles. But she said Tyson McGuffin in Salt Lake pulled out of singles, or excuse me, pulled out of mixed, but still played men's.
Yeah.
And she said that's where kind of the conflict of interest, and it's a bad look when you do that. Because in singles, so Ben ends up pulling out of singles, and he said each day his ankle just got better and better. So he heard it playing soccer, by the way.
With the pickleball, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, Tyler, because you don't
Enlighten
follow
me.
other sports. But there's clauses in contracts of other sports
That prevent you from,
prevent you from playing.
That's why I can't ever post anything that I do. Just kidding.
There is a pitcher for the San Francisco Giants, and this actually is something that is relevant to you, named Madison Bumgarner. Okay. Who's from a small town in North Carolina, probably close to where Bristol was.
Okay.
And Madison Bumgarner was riding around on one of those little mini dirt bikes. So he was Cy Young pitcher, World Series MVP, right?
Yeah.
Riding around on one of those little dirt bikes, and he freaking jacked his shoulder. Never was the same.
Like crashed or just riding
crashed.
around? Okay. Yeah.
Crashed. Never the same. Honestly, he was never the same. And I think he's still toiling around the majors now, and he's getting shelled every stop. But for 6 or 7 years, 8 years, he was as good as it gets. And there was a clause in his contract saying you can't
For the MLB
for the
team?
Giants.
Okay.
The Giants, he played for the Giants, had a clause saying essentially that they could void his contract.
Yeah.
And so then there was another player, Jeff Kent, who played for the Giants years and years ago. So I'm going to age myself. Jeff Kent actually got hurt doing the same thing. And he lied because he had a clause.
Yeah.
And they could void his contract, and said he slipped washing his truck. Slipped in the driveway washing his truck.
Yeah.
I think he broke his ankle. So my question is this. If PPA is shelling out millions of dollars, should they have clauses like that?
They might. And moving forward, they probably should, at least for some of the players.
Yeah. I mean, do you want Ben Johns getting hurt playing basketball, or Padel or something else, missing events?
No.
Because that hurts your brand, doesn't it?
For sure, yeah.
And he's kicking a pickleball around. Yep. It's not like he was like playing a full soccer game.
Yeah.
But
No. Yeah, I think they probably should. The only tricky thing is, like, I know for sure NBA players have those types
Some
of
of them
contracts.
can't play pickleball because of it.
Yeah, but the thing with that is those guys have an off season.
Yes,
and so during
that's
the
fair.
off season, a lot of those players are allowed to do those different activities. But where
Yeah.
pickleball is literally year round,
Yeah.
those players, we wouldn't be able to do hardly anything. And I mean, you obviously have to be careful, but what happens if you're in the gym training for pickleball or for your sport and you get injured? Is that the same thing as Ben just messing around? It's not, but
It's not, but yeah, I mean
you
it
still
just
get injured.
increases. I think the one thing that maybe the clause should be like extreme sports,
yeah,
right? Like if you're snowboarding or you're
riding a motorcycle
without a helmet, going 80 miles an hour down the
Skateboarding.
street,
Yeah.
skateboarding, those things, I think that would be a fair conclusion in your contract. So
Sure.
Ben pulls out.
Yeah.
He still plays men's doubles and he still plays mixed doubles. Grayson Golden was playing really well. That would have been a fun match to watch with a healthy Ben.
Yeah.
So moving on.
Okay. So going back to the original question,
Yes.
are you in favor of players being able to pull out of an event, a specific event, and then
Yeah,
playing
I think
others?
singles and doubles are separate. I think if you pull out of one doubles event, you better pull out of both. However, from a male perspective, Tyler, you're a man.
Are you gendering me?
I am putting you in a box. From a
don't-
male perspective,
Okay.
is it more difficult to play mixed than it is to play men's?
It should be, but it's not always that way. Yeah.
So do you feel like if someone pulled out a mixed because they felt like they couldn't carry, so to speak, chauvinists, these male chauvinists, but still played men's because maybe they're a right side guy in men's and,
Yeah.
but they have to carry in mixed, could you buy that argument?
I mean, you could, but I don't think it's right. And I was talking to actually a couple people messaged me about this, and I know it's not going to get changed. And you can't enforce it just because you can't, but it is a pretty weird look to see somebody, and not only Ben, but there's other players that have done this in the past too. Actually, quite a few. I think there's 2 or 3 that did it in
Well,
men's
Dylan
singles.
Frazier pulled out
Yeah,
in
Dylan
singles.
Frazier, Ben. I think there's even one other person that did it just this last tournament. So it happens, but it's not super common.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's a little bit of a weird look.
Yeah, I think so too. And
Like, if you truly are injured, not enough to move around on the court, like, you shouldn't be
so
able.
then how can you move around on the court?
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Ben did say that the next day he felt a lot better. He went from 40 to 60%, and then it looked like he went to 80, and then today looked like he was fine.
Okay.
So,
All right. Yeah. So,
yeah. All right. So let's go to men's doubles.
okay.
Let's do men's doubles here. I said on the last pod I thought Ben was going to win a triple crown. And obviously I missed on singles, but he was hurt. But he came out in men's doubles. And Colin Johns, I don't even know that I can even say this with a straight face,
Okay. Try it.
but Colin Johns was good this week.
What'd you say?
He was good.
Who?
Oh gosh. And he was,
Who was it?
and we said this, no, listen, we said this on the pod.
CJ Klinger?
We said that Colin Johns needed to be more aggressive from the right, and they needed to adjust their game.
So was this all a ploy by Ben to have Colin play more aggressive?
I mean, it could have been. But what we said, though, was that we saw that they were taking steps towards that, but it was going to take them time to get that dialed in.
Yeah.
And obviously it did. But now it seems like, I mean, we'll see how the next tournament goes, but Colin was way more aggressive from the right. He was extreme. I mean, he was playing Gabe Tardio-esque.
It's the glasses he's wearing.
I mean, there's that too. So Ben and Colin as a 2 seed, they had a hell of a road.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to it here, but Ben and Colin had to go through. I mean, they had to go through Steve Deacon, and Ivan Jakalovic.
Yankovic? I don't know.
Jakalovic. I'll be called racist for saying it wrong. But they had to play Daskew and Tardio, who's been their nemesis
And that was the quarters, right?
in the quarters,
Yeah.
and then they had to play Riley and Christian in the semis.
Yep.
So let's just jump straight to Riley and Christian.
Riley and Christian.
Riley and Christian had a good run. You had to play them.
We had to play them in round of 16, which in Vegas we played them in the bronze medal. And so I was hoping to play them a little bit further on, but we had them in the round of 16.
And they came out and they scored 7 straight points.
Yep.
Every single thing was on drive and crash.
Yep.
and Riley was literally poaching balls from the left side with his left hand.
One time.
It looked good, though.
Don't act like it was a common occurrence.
It was pretty impressive, though. Be honest.
Well, it was a high sitter. Of course you can do that.
Yeah, but it was impressive. And then Jared Paul from the kitchen basically said that they had solved the riddle. Hit balls at Loon.
Jared is a visionary, right?
He solved the riddle. Hit balls at
He's
you.
a visionary.
Now, I mean, Jared, in all due respect to Jared and his 3-6 duper, whatever it is,
You're going to get called out right
Connor
now.
Garnett was returning every single serve. Mm-hmm. So, of course, the balls are going to be hit at you.
Yeah,
Because you were crashing. You were coming up to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Connor's returning. So, of course, the balls are going to be hit at you. And Connor was trying his best, but he could not get the return to Riley to save his life.
Yeah, I mean, they played well the first game. Christian was driving everything.
Yeah. But I don't think it was like a hit ball at Tyler is the method.
Yeah.
It was a don't return to Christian and let him drive everything so Riley can crash.
And if that strategy worked out so well, the second game was a lot closer. It was 11-8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I agree. Like there's been, look, if you want to, in the past, hit everything in Tyler's backhand, fine. Mm-hmm. A year ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But this wasn't, it was just weird. It didn't matter if it was Ben Johns at the kitchen right there. That person was going to get peppered with balls because of how.
In our defense, last time we played them in Vegas, they won, I believe, 11-0 the first game.
Yeah.
And we got more points. So, hey, little progress there.
You guys are improving.
Yeah.
So that was a fun match. The other match, which was probably the match of the tournament, was Hunter Johnson on Diamo.
Hook.
And
I'm not calling him a hook.
No, they had plenty of calls that they were controversy. And Julian Arnold taking on Fed and Matt Wright. Hunter and Julian come out as hot as I've ever seen, and they roll them in game 1, 11-1.
Yep.
I mean, like, literally curb stop.
You have to love Andiamo. You have to love him. He is so funny. He is great for the sport. His theatrics are incredible.
He is
top
great.
notch.
You know the craziest thing is you could hear him
start pounding his chest, and then after one of the points, he goes
on the. Well, you can't do guns. You can't do guns.
He did a 2-finger.
You can't do that.
It was incredible.
I don't think you can do finger guns anymore.
It was amazing.
I think finger guns are uncouth.
I don't know if the camera caught it because he was like off the court because it was an insane point. But he does the.
Do they even have guns in Italy?
I don't know, but it was amazing.
Okay, so Andiamo, you could on the CBS Sports. So there was a CBS Sports aired some of these matches, and you could hear him on the CBS broadcast screaming from the other court.
You love him, don't you?
No, but he
Do you like his new face, his shaved face?
So I'll say this. Anyone that follows college football, him and Cam Rising of the University of Utah quarterback could have been twins. Literally could have been twins. Neither one ever washes their hair. They both have horrible, horrible facial hair. They did. I mean, they're both kind of that same body shape. Like, there's just something about it. Anyway, with that being said, the new face looks good.
Here you are commenting on people's appearances, Jimmy.
I have no room to ever talk about anybody's appearance. But I'm also not a professional athlete. And he also looks like he's been working out. He's been working hard.
I like Julian.
I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying he looks like he's been working hard.
So you like Julian?
You take that for whatever you want to take that for.
Do you like Julian or no?
Julian's fine. Yeah, I don't.
So you like him?
Julian and I are friends. We sat by each other at PPA Masters. I got to see the Gucci bag up and close.
This was before you started calling him out.
I've never called him out. Anyways, he is good for the sport. I told you I like trash talking. All right. I think he owes Volaire some money though.
Should we get him? Oh, he wanted to come on to tell his side of the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was a while ago though.
Should we have him on?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun. Can Lauren come on too?
I hope so. Yeah.
I like Lauren more than Julian.
Yeah.
I think Lauren is actually the brains of that relationship. So anyway, so that being said, game 2, battle back and forth, Fed and Matt Wright. So yeah, we have Matt Wright and Julian Arnold on one court together, which is, entertain it. So they win 12-10, and then in the third, Hunter and Julian 14-12. Mm-hmm. And Hunter's not quiet either.
No, they rise up to the occasion.
Yeah. I mean, it was wild. It was honestly, go watch that. It was on YouTube on Friday. Was it Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or is it on Thursday?
That was the round of 16. Yeah, that was the round of 16.
So Thursday.
Yep.
So go watch it on YouTube on Thursday. It was on Grandstand.
Yep.
Incredible match. Honestly, if you go back and watch one match from that tournament, that one's worth it.
Yeah.
That one and then Captain Hooks against DJ. Just because you can hear the heckler. You said the heckler was John Sincola's friend?
Yes, one of John Sincola's cronies, friends, whatever. And so
Does that reflect poorly on John Sincola that he hangs out with those types of people?
I honestly think it might a little bit. Because I was thinking if I had a personal friend, like somebody that came with me to a tournament, and they were acting that way, I would tell them to leave or to not do that. Now, if it's somebody
What if it's me?
I would tell you to shut up or go somewhere
You
else.
would?
Yeah.
Have I ever done that at a tournament?
If I was in a match, yeah. If you were off doing it on your own, I don't care.
I know, but have I ever done that at a tournament?
You've only come to like one tournament.
I know, but I'm not a heckler.
No. But if it's somebody that I did not know, then I would say they can do whatever they want.
What about the guy that was heckling Ben for Noe Cliff?
Yeah. That wasn't even that bad of heckling.
Ben was staring at him.
Yeah.
And the guy, he pulled out like the old ball doesn't lie.
Yeah. He's in the Discord.
He is?
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know if he wants to be public, but it's Ben. Or no, I think it is Ben.
In the Discord it's Ben, or his real name's Ben?
I think his real name is Ben.
Oh, that's why then. There's only room for one Ben.
Exactly.
It's not
Ben Boom or whatever.
Benson Boone?
Yeah, no. In the Discord, it's like Ben Boone.
Do you like that's Benson Boone, dog? Do you like Benson Boone?
He's fine.
Beautiful Things?
Yeah, he went to BYU Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like him?
He's fine.
Oh. It's not Imagine Dragons.
It's not like Creed or Hinder.
It's not Creed.
Yeah.
Creed was just here.
Nickelback.
Nickelback, Rockstar. Wow.
Let's go.
Love me some photograph from Nickelback. All right. Anyways, moving on. Ben and Colin win the ship. They're back.
Yep. So I would imagine this would propel Ben to the number 1 spot.
Well, J-Dub and Dylan are on a pretty big drought. Now, they did win the bronze, but they're on a pretty big drought right now. It seems like what's been 4 or 5 tournaments in a row.
And when we say drought, we're just talking about actual wins.
You're the number 1 team in the world. Have they won since they became number 1?
I don't know.
I don't think they have.
Yeah.
But one thing we do need to talk about is Tyson McGuffin and Xiaomei, who in Salt Lake and Vegas didn't have great performances.
No.
And they make it to the gold medal match. They actually beat Ignatowicz and Deckel.
Yes, that was another pretty close match as well. That was a good match. If you go back and watch another one, that should be
It was 11-9 in the third. And then there was the Deckel Bar Ignatowicz against Rettenmeyer and Donald Young match. That's the one where Rettenmeyer tried to hook Deckel and Ignatowicz.
Anytime you refer that, you have to hold this up.
Yeah, he tried to hook them, but it was overturned by the ref. So glad we have referees when there's people like that on the court.
By the way, going back to my match, DJ did get overruled as well.
Yeah. Well, DJ, this is for you. This was on its way to Conversations with DJ. So is just to be clear, by the way, Declan and Ignatowicz, they almost lost to Onstons and Wyatt Stone.
Yes, it was like 12-10, 15-13 or something crazy like that. Yeah. Onston is good. He's a good player.
Onston's really good. Onston's, so pickleball chick, Caitlin Kerr, she said he's the guy outside the top 10 that she has her eye on.
He's probably outside the top 25, to be honest, but he's a good player.
Who's the guy outside the top 10 besides yourself that you have your eye on, that you think could make noise in the next 6 months?
All right, I'm pulling up the standings right now. And
do you think, Ignatowicz, single James Ignatowicz is outside the top 10?
Okay.
Like, he's not as good without Anna. I'm being honest. He hasn't been good without Anna. And also, this is the tournament that he dropped you for. He dropped you for Deckel for this tournament, right?
Yeah, and also, when I played with him, we lost to Tyson as well, and they lost to Tyson this time. So maybe he's got something against, or not against Tyson, but just a mental block.
You just can't beat Tyson, his former partner. Yeah, you might have to go deep, too. It might have to be like outside the top 30.
Talking... So a question mark would be Kwong. We don't know how he's able to do.
Yeah. Onstons is a guy.
Onstons is definitely a guy. Jack Monroe, we haven't seen much of him.
He's kind of
Michael Lloyd. I would say Michael Lloyd. He's on the up.
Yeah, Michael Lloyd is solid.
Patrick Kafka, he's kind of been there.
He has his moments for sure.
Blaine Hovenier.
Yeah. I think Casey Diamond's been playing pretty well lately.
Greg's been around for a while, Greg Dow, but him and Scarpa have been playing some pretty close matches.
Have you ever did you ever used to watch wrestling growing up?
No.
So wrestling, there was a guy, called the Brooklyn Brawler. And whenever you were like an up-and-coming wrestler, the first guy you always seemed to fight in the WWF, this is WWF days, was the Brooklyn Brawler.
Okay.
And if you beat the Brooklyn, he came out and he had like cut off sleeves and he had jeans. And if you beat the Brooklyn
What year
Brawler,
is this? 90s? 95?
Yeah, 90s, mid-90s. So you beat the Brooklyn Brawler, then you got to like, okay, now we're going to move up, right?
Okay.
That's Dow and Scarpa. They're the Brooklyn Brawler.
Well, they beat Tyson and Jaume in Bristol.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So Tyson and Jaume weren't ready, but you got to beat the Brooklyn Brawler before you can move up. And
the other one I would say is,
guys.
and of course it's because of the smartest man in pickleball, but Naveen Beasley. He's been doing well, especially in singles.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he's always been good in singles.
He has. Yeah, the past 1 to 2 years he's done well in singles.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Okay, real quick, we're going to interrupt the show with our next sponsor, which is Vulcan Pickleball. They are a huge supporter of this show and all things pickleball. They are the official ball of MLP and also PPA Tour. They are a sponsor of the show. We love them. Thank you for your support. They make the best ball available right now.
Yes.
And if you go to vulcansportinggoods.com and use code KOTC, you are going to get the best price possible.
Big discounts.
Yep.
I did not hear a single complaint about the ball this weekend.
Yep.
I didn't see much. I think this ball it's there.
Yep.
I think that it created some great firefights. I think it stayed around. I think people were happy. We're back on outdoor permanent courts. So go check it out. If you want to use the ball that the pros are using.
Yep.
And if you want to play like the pros, there's actually, I got a call, DTL, down the line in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
You know Jenny Bay.
Jenny Bay.
Shout out Jenny Bay. Her members, they're like, hey, we want to use the ball that the pros use. So Jenny called me and was like, hey, can you hook me up with Vulcan?
Yep.
Get me in touch. I was like, of course. And so, yeah.
Everyone wants to play like the pros,
Yeah.
Play with the pros, and you can start by using the ball that they use. I promise you, at the highest level, the margins are so slim that it doesn't make sense for somebody to train with a different ball if they're not using that ball in the tournament. And so if I were to go train for a tournament, I'm of course using the ball that tournament is using, which is the Vulcan Pro.
Yeah,
V-Pro.
I mean, it was very, very common to check on pickleball back in the day, pickleballtournaments.com. For are they using a Franklin or are they using a Dura? There's actually people that wouldn't even play tournaments if they're using Franklins, or vice versa. And then you would go and you would train with that ball.
Yeah.
And I remember playing we have that Tuesday night money ball used to playing all the time, and they'd be like, hey, we're playing down in St. George this weekend. They only use Franklin, so everybody would go and train with a Franklin.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing, right? You want to train with the ball. That makes a difference.
Go get them at vulcansportinggoods.com and use code KOTC for the best price possible.
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Yes.
Women's.
Okay,
so we'll just skip pretty much to the semis or finals.
Women's in the semis, we had Jack Kawamoto and Lacey Schneeman taking on Anna Bright and Rachel Rohrbacher. And then we had Annalie Waters and Catherine Parento taking on two OGs who were back together. Despite what the smartest man in pickleball, Jim Kloss, says, Callie Smith and Lucy Kovalova. Back together all the way to the semis.
Yes.
He said they will never win again. They'll never play together again.
Well, did they win?
They will never play together again. They'll never have any success. The game has passed them by. No, but they made a run, dude.
He's not wrong.
They made a run. So we get to the semis, and Anna and Rachel just have a very specific style. And their style of play is exactly like Annalie's and Catherine's, to be honest. And they want to hit the ball through you. They don't care that you're in front of them. They don't care that you want to ding. They don't care how well you reset. They're going to pull and pull and pull and hit the ball through you. Annalie and Catherine are very, very similar, except Catherine plays a little bit more defense, and then Annalie's going to pick her spots, and she's going to attack. And they both want to play fast. So Rachel and Anna didn't have too much trouble with Jackie and Lacey. They just kind of overpowered them. And then Annalie, let's talk about this for a second. Catherine, they were down to Callie and Lucy early. Mm-hmm. Callie was playing insane in game one. Mm-hmm. And then Annalie takes a medical timeout for diarrhea.
Okay.
I'm dead serious.
No way.
Yeah.
Is that confirmed?
I heard that she had diarrhea.
Okay.
I don't...
Sounds like a medical timeout to me, for sure.
100%. I mean, it's an emergency. Yeah. That's a medical emergency.
That's a life emergency.
But you're only supposed to get 15 minutes, and she was gone for 25. Should she have forfeited? Or should she just pinch it off? I mean, what do you do?
That's a great question. We got to get Stanley over here for that.
I think we need a diagnosis.
Yeah.
If any referees are watching this, when does the 15 minutes start? Does it start from the second they take the timeout, or does it start when the treatment begins? So that she had to get to the porta pot first?
Was it the RV bus or was it?
Okay, if you had to choose RV or porta pot.
RV, 100%.
You're going RV, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was pretty far away.
It was?
Oh, yeah. It's in the parking lot and you're indoors.
Did you see the RV there?
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question. She posted a video saying, I always have to ride in the back, long drive to Atlanta, and her parents were driving. Mm-hmm. But then the RV was there too. Why wouldn't you just ride in the RV?
Because the RV meets them at tournaments. Why would you drive there?
Wouldn't you rather ride? She lives in Florida. The drive to Atlanta is probably 10 hours?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather ride in the bus?
If that was an option, but it was probably coming from the last place.
All right.
Logistics, man.
Then what's the point of having an RV?
So when you get to the tournaments, it's there.
In case you have diarrhea?
Yes, just for that.
Anyways. All right. Anyways, they took this really long time out. It changed the momentum. Annalie came back. She did what Annalie does, and they rolled Callie and Lucy in the end.
Hey.
And she survived.
Smart.
So we get to the finals today.
Okay.
Anna and Rachel come out, and they just decide, you know what? We're not scared of
Did they have a photo shoot before?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure that. Do you like the nickname the girlies?
I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's fine.
I think it's stupid.
Who gave them that? Like, is that
they gave it to themselves? You can't
they
give
gave it to
yourself
themselves?
a nickname. I don't know who gave it to them.
Well, you can't say they gave it to themselves if they didn't.
I'm pretty sure they gave it to themselves. They call themselves the girlies.
Yeah.
I think it's dumb, but whatever.
Well, we call ourselves the boys.
Do we?
Well, I say the boys at KOTC sent you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's true. Okay. Anna, I'm sorry. Anna and Rachel, I'm sorry. Okay, you could call yourselves the girlies. I called Rachel overrated not that long ago. So she was...
But your reasoning was different.
Yeah, my reasoning was she hadn't played with anybody but... Really.
Exactly. So
yeah, but obviously that means she was going to win. Mm-hmm. So she's welcome.
Okay.
I need to keep it 100. Rachel Rohrabacher was the best player on the court in that final.
Awesome.
Better than Anna Bright, better than Annalie Waters, better than Catherine Parinto. She was insane. And what they did, so they ended up winning for those that don't know. And what they did, everybody usually when you play Annalie and Catherine, you go after Catherine, right? Mm-hmm. Do you want to go after the best player in the world? Probably not. You go after Catherine, and then it takes a lot of pressure off of Annalie, and then she can kind of pick and choose her spots, and Catherine just kind of focuses on, she pulls a lot and attacks, but she also knows that Annalie's coming. They went after Annalie Waters. Mm-hmm. I've never seen Annalie so uncomfortable in a match. I've never seen her have to block so many shots. I've never seen her have to dig.
Was Annalie playing left?
Yes. And they just freaking pulled the trigger, and they went after her. They attacked her relentlessly. Mm-hmm. It was like watching a men's doubles match. Mm-hmm. There's very little dinking.
Normally men's has quite a bit of dinking.
That's why I said there's very little dinking.
Oh, I thought you said it was.
Yes, but there's those men's matches. I'm not talking Colin and J-Dub.
Okay.
I'm talking like Jaume.
Okay. Yeah, I get your point.
Where let's just freaking attack every ball.
Yeah.
It was like watching Christian and Riley against you and Connor Garnett.
There you go.
Okay?
I understand that.
Okay. And they just pulled everything, and they overpowered them. But what was crazy is they won the first two, and then and then they lost the third, and I thought, okay, here come Annalie and Catherine, right? No, they freaking come back and they fire back and they beat them in 4.
That's awesome.
So congrats
And
to
this
AB.
was played outdoors, right?
Outdoors.
Yep.
It was windy. There was a little wind. Congrats to AB, who she's actually on like this podcast tour right now, going on every pod but ours.
Yep.
I'll try not to be bitter about that.
Boycotting KOTC.
Yeah, like it's almost like she's doing it on purpose now. Like she's like showing her face on every single pod but ours. Which,
It's because you're friends with Jimmy or James.
I mean, I can be friends with both. It's okay.
You have to choose one side. Whose side do you choose? James or Anna Bright?
I guarantee you that the reason they broke up is 99.9% something James Ignatowicz did. Guaranteed. But that doesn't mean that I still don't like James, right? So Anna's on this podcast tour, and anyways, I'm trying not to be bitter, but good win for her. Congratulations.
All right,
Rachel,
quick question. Do
was
you
amazing.
think they can sustain that?
Um,
Because up till now, they've beaten them once, but outside of that one time, these last 2
that
times,
level of play was so high,
it's hard to replicate.
it would be hard to replicate.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me if they played them again in another final. They lost 4-3.
Yeah.
Like that level of play was unbelievable, and to sustain it for 4 games, to beat Annalee in best 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Because didn't they only beat them 2 out of 3 the first time they beat them?
No, I think it was 3 out of
It
5
was 3
as
out
well.
of 5.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was a TV one.
I think it
or-
was 4 games. It was Austin Open.
Okay.
I think it was 4 games also.
But they were. It's going to be tough to sustain that. But if they can, then
Was there a lot of yelling going on?
Not really. It wasn't crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it was intense. I mean, like I said, Rachel was just
Dialed.
dialed and dominating.
Yeah.
And then AB was, honestly, she was blowing Catherine up every chance she got. It was really good match.
So we've already started seeing people say, is it time for Annalee to move on?
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I mean, the most ridiculous thing there, 100 and something in 2.
One match. Boom.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And then bronze.
Jackie Kawamoto, Lacey Schneeman beat Callie and Lucy in 3. There was a shot in that match. 7-9 in game 2. Jackie and Lacey were down 7-9, and Jackie throws up a lob from the winner from the kitchen. Hits the back line and just squirts into because there's not a lot of space in the grandstand court. Hits the back line and just freaking shoots right into the wall.
Yeah.
I thought Lucy was going to literally flip her off and only like a Lucy way. It was actually pretty funny. So, anyways, congrats to AB and Rachel. Like that's big.
Anything else with that tournament?
I mean, women's singles, Annalee with the big dub. Mixed doubles, just because it actually is completing as we speak. Annalee and Ben beat Christian and Catherine 11-6, 11-6, 12-10.
Wow.
So Ben with 2 golds. Annalee with 2 golds. Yeah. I mean, it's almost back to normal, but it still feels like an upset in a way. Also, men's senior double open, Deacon and all tough.
All tough.
You can almost pencil that in as much as you can Annalee in singles.
So there's the Worlds coming up. That's in Dallas.
Yeah.
And they sent out the prize money breakdown. And there's actually decent money for the seniors.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they doing split age at Worlds?
I think so, yeah.
Are you going to play?
I think, last year I played with Dirk, right? Is that the one I did?
Yeah, I didn't play with Riley.
Yeah. No, he played with Ben.
With Ben, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. But there's actually decent money for the seniors, so it'll be interesting to see.
You should call Althoff go double lefty.
Hey, I actually haven't been wanting to do double lefty.
Yeah. Rafa?
Rafa, I mean, he's all talk. He's always like, yeah, let's do it.
He did do it with Jade.
Yeah, that's mixed.
But mixed is different, yeah.
Okay, moving on. Oh, real quick, there was a big meeting that happened on Saturday. UPA.
And all the paddle brands.
And all the paddle
I heard it
manufacturers.
was like 6 hours long.
They said plan for 5 hours, and I think they went over.
Yeah, and I heard that basically they walked out of there with nothing resolved, nothing solved, and more frustration.
Yeah, so they're in a weird spot right now. And so there's needing to be a lot of answers that are just not happening at this moment. And so I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, the main topic is paddles at this moment, is the threshold, is the power. And a lot of people have said that next year, in 2025, the power will come down.
What percentage should they? So Paris Codd beat Kate Fahey.
That was a great match.
Great match.
Yeah.
Women's singles.
Yeah.
And she basically used her platform,
Who, Kate?
Paris, to talk about paddles and say essentially that they're too hot. And she didn't specifically throw shade at Yola, but she didn't need to. She also mentioned that she kind of vaguely said that there's players who have elevated their games significantly,
Sure.
and all that they've changed is their paddle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what percentage? Is it 25%, 50%?
I would honestly, from my perspective, say it needs to be 30%.
30%?
Yeah, from the top end.
So the ball would be out.
Huh?
30%, 25, more than 25?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yes. I mean, there was an interesting stat from the U.S. Open tennis. Who do you think hits harder, men or female?
well, serves is men.
I'm talking about ground strokes.
Oh, ground strokes?
Yeah.
Men.
So there's a stat from the U.S. Open that just concluded tennis, and the hardest hit shot was from a female.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these female players,
Yeah.
especially those that are using these hot paddles, are hitting 2 to 3 times more powerful than myself
Do you think that,
for a ground stroke,
yeah.
which is crazy.
I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, look, everybody's getting bigger, they're getting stronger, they're getting faster. Now there's like pickleball specific trainers out there, right? Leia in one of her post games said that she switched trainers and she's working on mobility and flexibility and all these things now, as opposed to just getting just strength and people are figuring out what works and what doesn't work for pickleball.
Yeah.
And I think all that's going to do is increase the level of play. I mean, obviously, look, you're going to the gym every day. We see the selfies.
Every other day.
Oh, every other
Bro, so I ran a half mile this morning, and everyone says, oh, when you run, it's so much easier on the treadmill, so much easier, this and that. My time was way fast. Well, this take it with a grain of salt.
half mile.
Half mile was much faster.
Do you think that your splits stay the same if you run a half marathon or a marathon?
For sure, marathon.
Your splits will be faster in a half marathon. So you don't think
Marathon.
you don't think you would gas out?
But not to that extent.
But why didn't you run the whole mile
Because tomorrow I'm doing the whole mile on the treadmill, so I didn't want
on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Not back outside.
Exactly.
See, we wanted to see.
Exactly.
We want to see. Here's one advantage you have.
Okay.
I think if you go for your record mile time, you should do it at sea level because you have a huge advantage because you run at elevation.
No, I'll push through it regardless. I'm not making excuses. Come on.
What's your goal?
To be consistently able to do 5:10, 5:15, like consistently without being.
Well, allegedly you're doing 2-minute half miles and.
Well, that wasn't consistently. That was my first time outdoors.
Yeah. What'd you do in?
Indoors or on the track?
Outdoors today.
It was 2:10. So if you multiply that by 2, it would have been 4:20 per mile, which I wouldn't have been able to keep up with.
Well, you just said that you could. No?
Not to that extent, no.
So that means you did the 400 meters in a minute, basically?
I guess, yeah.
What's the 400 meter record?
Somebody messaged me because I posted that, and they said the world record for the time that I posted was 140 or so, and I was 210,
So 800 meter.
yeah.
800 meter world record. Let's look that up. It's 140.
140.
Yeah.
So I got 210.
So you're only 30 seconds off the 800 meter world record. Can you get there?
No.
You don't think?
No.
What do you think the US record is? Anyways.
I don't know. Probably 142. Dude, once you start getting down to those low numbers, like they're talking milliseconds and tenths of seconds.
Yeah. That's impressive though.
Yeah. So they had a big meeting. I'm sure we will get, well, I'm not sure about it, but hopefully we'll get more clarity.
The Utah High School track and field state record for the 800 meters is 149.77.
Yeah.
You're not that far off.
20 seconds is pretty.
You think you could push through though? You said you could push through?
I bet I could get under 2 minutes for that.
The 1600 record?
What is that? A 4 mile?
Yeah, four trips around.
Yeah.
401.
Yeah.
And it was just done last year
Okay.
by Daniel Simmons of American Fork High, who I think he's actually going to run at like Oregon or something. Anyways,
Okay, hopefully we get more clarity on all this UPA stuff. It's a big overhang, and so hopefully that gets lifted soon. All right, let's get into questions. First, we'd like to give a big shout out to Holy Performance.
Holy.
Jimmy, tell us about them and our new flavor coming out.
Yeah, so we have a new flavor. We are not going to quite announce what that flavor is yet, but it is a KOTC flavor. We went and tried them all. It is incredible. I cannot wait for it to come out. I'm going to literally live off of it. Get your electrolytes, zero sugar, all natural flavors. This is as natural flavor as it gets, what we have coming out. And yeah, so there's a pregame, a postgame, and an in-game. Mm-hmm. So you get your pre-workout, you get your electrolytes, and then you get all your recovery.
Yep.
So check them out, holyperformance.com.
Yep.
Code KOTC. And I promise you guys will like them. We've had a lot of people order them.
If you already take supplements like this, electrolytes, try them out. If you don't, try them out or get excited for our upcoming flavor.
Yep.
Okay, all right, moving on to questions. Let's try to do these fairly quickly. All right, somebody said, is Annalise paddle different from what you can buy on the market?
Yes. You want me to elaborate?
No, it's fine.
No, I think it is. I think that they claim that it's not, but I think it is. I think everybody is very well aware that it is. Otherwise, nobody on the planet hits a pickleball like she does because her paddle just sounds different.
Do you think the PPA purposely doesn't put some players on center court?
Yeah, of course they do. They put specific players on center court because they're trying to build the brand of certain players. Ben and Annalise are always going to be on center, and Ben and Annalise are always going to be on the national TV broadcast.
Yes and no. I mean, a couple of years ago, I would have 100% agreed to that, but this, I think they are tailoring it more towards those that will draw a crowd, or that are more entertaining.
Yeah, which works too, but then why do you put Ben and Annalise versus Jada and Georgia on? That's not going to be as entertaining as other matches.
No, that was a bad example.
But for the most part, yes, there's entertaining. They want entertaining matches to be shown for sure.
Yeah. I did not see this match, but somebody said, do you think ALW and Catherine were hooking AB and Rachel Rohrabacher? I did not see it, so.
No, I didn't think it was that bad. In fact, the only call that I really thought, there was actually a call that Rachel had called out. Mm-hmm. And Annalise and Catherine appealed, and they did the close call replay. And it was very, very close. It was probably like 31%. And so they ended up overturning the call.
Real quick. With this, sorry guys.
I
know. With this close call replay, when they do get down to 240 frames per second, and you can clearly see space or whatever it is, will they rule it in whatever is right, or will they still do the 25%? Well, so if you can clearly see that the ball's out, however, there's 25% over the line.
Well, how would that work? I don't think you can go 25% over and still see space.
I think you could.
You think that? I think
the size of contact of this, if there's no compression, like on a normal dink, is that of a dime.
But I don't think that you can still see.
So, for example, the one that the Johnsons, J.W. Dillon, got overturned on. I mean,
I know, but Tyler, this is the line, and you're right here, so there's space. It's not 25%.
Yeah, but they called it in. That ball they called in. The Johnson.
I know, but you couldn't see space on that ball. Right?
I don't know. I only got one or two good looks at it, but
I need an engineer.
Okay. Real quick, also adding to that. So you know Hawkeye for tennis?
Yeah.
A lot of people think that the graphic that they use, the animations that they use for Hawkeye is real life.
A little shadow, yeah.
It's animation. It's a bunch of cameras putting it how they think it's going to go. And there's always a little bit of doubt that that's not exactly where the ball lands.
Interesting.
And so that's why they never show the actual replay on the screen. They only show the animation of it. And it's probably 99% accurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little tidbit of information.
Fun facts with Tyler.
Somebody said, what were the best and worst moments from Atlanta? We pretty much covered what we thought were some of the best. It started off with my singles match, and then
Yeah, who's the best one?
Matt Wright's fed.
You asked that guy to get removed.
I did, yeah. If LeBron James can get people removed,
Are you comparing yourself to LeBron James?
no, but if athletes can get people removed from venues,
Would you fight him?
sure. I told him to come down onto the court.
No, he said, you know that I can't.
I said, yeah, you can. There's nobody stopping you.
Yeah. But what if he came down with Sincola? Are you nervous?
No. Did you? How old is Sincola?
I don't know. I don't know anything
If you had to guess, how
I
old
just
do
know
you
he
think
plays for the Frisco Pandas, and he's never had any results in any other.
How old do you think he is, if you had to guess?
He looks like he's probably in his 40s, mid 40s.
Okay, so I would say the opposite. If you looked at him, I would think he was like mid to late 30s. He's in his 40s.
He's 44.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's been doing really well actually in singles.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know Sincola at all.
He's actually a pretty nice guy, but it's a little bit,
He might be nice, but
yeah.
you're only as good as the company you keep. That's what I always say.
All right.
Just came up with that. That's pretty good, actually. Should I put that? Should we put that right here?
Who was the
Mine
woman
already.
on CG's?
Live, laugh, well.
Who was the woman on CG's bench for singles?
Her name's Allie.
Allie Welch.
Allie Welch, yeah.
She helps Connor with his social media.
Yeah, social media, business manager, fellow Utah, friend of the show.
Yep.
Her mom, Randy,
She's great.
OG, absolute one of the original fans.
She's a heckler.
Her mom came up with a sign at TOC last year that said, Travis who? Because she was going after Rettmeyer for me. What's your mom's friend's name, too?
I can't remember, but I can see her.
Me too.
All right, somebody said, I love the progressive draws for viewing. Do players like it? I think you're going to get a lot of mixed answers from this. Some players love it, and then others don't. The great thing or bad thing about progressive is you have a lot of time in between matches, so you essentially only play one match.
Like imagine, so
for Connor Garnett, he lost in doubles and mixed doubles. He was literally there just for singles, and he was playing one singles match per day.
Yeah, one singles match a day. He still has to stay the whole week. Or you look at like Lucy and Callie, right? They played in the bronze match today. I mean, essentially they were there for 3 extra days. You know, because they started playing on Tuesday. It's a long week for sure. But I don't hate it. I think it also creates way more content for the PPA.
I think it allows the PPA and players to tell their story, to get players hyped up, say, hey, tomorrow I play at 11 a.m., I'll be on this court, I'll be on that court, and so it gives people something to look forward to, rather than the traditional tournament where it's go, 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 you play, you're done, within 10 minutes you're playing your next match.
Yeah.
Somebody said, final video review in men's doubles, J-Dub Dillon versus Tyson Jaume, the ball looked out.
Well, according to close call replay and the 25% rule, it was in.
Yeah, so that's what I was referring to when I was doing my little analogy.
Yeah.
All right. Is PED use common in professional pickleball, and does the PPA APP test for it? Jimmy,
Say that one more time.
is PED use common in professional pickleball? And do they test for
They
it?
do not test for it. I think the cost, we actually did a whole podcast on this where I looked up the cost, and I can't remember my numbers now, but the cost is very, very expensive. And you have to register with the World Anti-Doping Agency, and essentially they do random testing and all these things. Now, if they're ever going to be in the Olympics, they will definitely have to go that route. But in order to be in the Olympics, you can only have one governing body as well. So that's also a huge.
I don't know how true that is. Is that an actual?
One overseeing governing body,
So, track, they don't have little separate committees or different organizations, or
They may have different organizations within the country, but there's one whole governing body over the entire thing, yeah. So, so that's kind of an issue there. But in terms of drug testing, they do not test. Do I think that there's players using PEDs 100%? Do I think that there's players, that are using steroids? Probably. Are there players that are using HGH and all these things? Yeah, 100% they are. I don't know what level of advantage it gives, but I do know people that I've known personally that have done steroids, anabolic steroids. They tell me, every single person has told me the biggest thing that it doesn't give you massive muscles. You don't get huge, but there's zero time. There's zero recovery.
Recovering, yeah. So you're able to.
You can, yeah, and that's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
So.
Also, I think our audio just went out on these mics, and so if you're listening to this and it is bad audio, it's because it's coming through the camera. We apologize for that. Anything else? Somebody else questioned.
Do I need to yell?
No, you don't, because it's going to be echoing, bouncing off the walls. Does slice and topspin on dinks truly matter, or is moving your opponents more important?
I think moving them is number one. I think slice and dink on topspin matters when you're a 4-0. Spin, the first thing everybody learns per Coach Susie Anderson is spin. Okay, spin is the first thing that everybody seems to learn. And you know, spin it. But moving your opponents matters way more. And if you get to the higher levels, the spin does not have as much effect on players at the higher levels as moving a dink would.
Okay. One other person typed in and said, hot take, Fed is overrated in men's doubles.
He won gold with Hayden.
He did. Which tournament was that?
It was not that long ago.
Oh, was it Sacramento?
I don't know. I can't keep them all straight, Ty.
Gotcha.
But no, Fed's good. He's solid. I think he's a very, very good player. What's overrated?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is everything
Is he top 10? Yeah, I think he's top 10. If you think he's top 5, then okay, maybe you can argue it's overrated. But I think he's firmly in the 6 to 10 range.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. All right, let's get to the last question that this guy wrote in, Paul.
Yeah.
All right, he said, question.
Go Bears.
He said, you can only choose one. Anna Lee Waters' annual PPA salary, or Lee Waters' liquidated value of everything in her closet.
Before you answer, note that Lee was sporting a $760 Gucci mushroom t-shirt on Championship Sunday. This is incredible because I know for a fact that some of Lee's outfits have been priced out at $10,000 to $20,000. Gucci, shoes, everything. I think I would still take Annalie's salary, but I bet it's a lot closer than we think.
Yeah.
A lot closer. Now, here's the problem. Lee should liquidate some of those outfits because they're hideous. They're absolutely atrocious. And I don't understand fashion, and I know it's Gucci and this and that, but she looks like she got dressed in the dark. And it looks like they came from a yard sale.
There you go, talking about people's appearances.
No, I'm just telling you. And the other thing is the Waters are great people, I'm sure, but green is not their color, whether it's Lee's Gucci or Annalie's outfits. Stay away from green.
Yarg.
Okay?
All right. How much did this cost?
I don't know.
Where'd you get it? Spirit Halloween?
Came out of the KOTC budget.
Spirit Halloween?
Bro, Spirit Halloween's wild. Like, if there's an empty building, boom, Spirit. Here it comes.
All right. If you made it this far, please do us a big favor. Hit that like and subscribe button. We have a big week this week in FLP.
If the Pickler ever goes under, they're all going to become Spirits.
Hey, they can be the title sponsor of the KOTC.
We'll know exactly where to go.
The new sponsor of the KOTC podcast.
Yeah.
Book. All right.
Hey, MLP, Virginia Beach. Go use code KOTC. Massive, massive discount if you want to go see Virginia Beach. And I will be there. Tyler will not, actually. Where's Tyler? Bring the shirt.
All right. Thank you.